I was doing some research for the show today and I came across this crazy tweet here, 37 million views just about. And here's the translation. The other day, I noticed that my iPhone was running really slow after the iOS update and the battery was running out quickly. And this is the cause: enhanced visual search. Implemented in iOS 18, it automatically transfers the location data of photos and folders to Apple. Once you turn it off, the speed instantly increases. Today's video is brought to you by Brain.fm, science-backed focus music that sounds great, by the way. You can check it out, linked up down below. This was just within like the last 24 hours that this person posted it and then it went so viral. So I haven't seen Apple actually respond to this yet. Really, the last thing you want is this amazing new iPhone, right? You just bought it, should be performing at its peak. You don't want that to become sluggish and a battery hungry beast all of a sudden. My guess is Apple has a fix out for this relatively quickly. However, it does matter. You want your phone to be usable. You don't want it to be acting like it's 4 years old or 5 years old or worse. You know, you have daily productivity things. It's a matter of convenience, really, if things are sluggish or if the battery's just drained. Nothing worse than a fast battery drain. Now, this is just one thing that I'm seizing on because it's caught so many people's attention here. But you gotta remember, I covered this on a clip recently here on the show. Lots of people are frustrated with just how Apple's operating system is working right now on the iPhone. It's not like this bug, there's a lot of bugs, and people have been calling for the next version of iOS to just be a bug fix version. Like, go through and tweak stuff, you know, tighten stuff up, make sure that it's working as it should be and as intended before you add new features. And so this has happened before, and I'm not going to rehash that whole episode. But I do think that the general sentiment right now around iOS 18 is largely one of frustration and some concern among certain iPhone users. I say certain because some people, they just have this attitude where it's like, whatever Apple does, or anything that's got the Apple logo on it, or whatever, they're never going to criticize it. And they're just going to be like, thanks, Apple, like whatever, thank you. And I don't think that's a particularly helpful attitude. If Apple does something awesome, let's applaud that, of course, right? You know, I'm in the iPhone studio. I got to make a video about this. So many iPads and Macs and you know, iPhones and Apple gear just like everywhere. I use Apple and I rely on it and it works so good for me. But I want it to keep doing that. So that means if Apple actually has a flop or a failure of some sort, we got to talk about it and it needs to be called out. And I think that's sort of what's happening with the sentiment right now with iOS 18. So a lot of people went in and turned this off and now things seem to be running smoother for them. They were like, thanks for the tip. Here's somebody else who said, thanks because I thought my phone was broken again, even though I just changed the battery. Somebody else sort of confirming they thought their battery was draining quickly, a little too fast lately, and this was why. I just want to take a brief second and let you know about our sponsor today, Brain.fm. I love Brain.fm. I'm literally never without this app on my Mac, on my iPhone, wherever I go, because it just sounds so good. But it's not just about the sound. Brain.fm is science-based, science-backed, and it will help you actually concentrate better. So it actually works as fast as just 5 minutes, and I love the interface. And it just really has quite an effect. Check it out. As you can see, people really love it. And if you check the link down in the description, you get 30 days free. Now, whenever there's an issue like this that kind of starts making the rounds or gets in the news or whatever, then you gotta take it with a grain of salt because you're like, how widespread is it? Versus like, did this happen to one person? And then other people just sort of glommed on. They didn't really understand the situation or whatever. I don't know if that's really the case here or not. It does seem like a lot of people have experienced this from what I've seen, but let's just throw it out there that maybe it's a possibility for sure. This could be a bit exaggerated, but I want to know what you think. Have you experienced any of these issues? Has your phone felt slower? Has the battery seemed like it's draining a little too quickly or noticeably faster than it maybe used to or should? And I should just note, like, some people are turning this off regardless of the performance issues or non-issues, just because they're worried about privacy. So this feature is turned on by default in iOS 18. You got to go in and turn it off if you need to or want to. Basically, the way this feature works is your device privately matches places in your photos to a global index that Apple maintains on their servers. So let's say that you took a picture of a landmark. Well, Apple can identify it. Kind of like if you take a picture of your dog and Apple can tell you, oh, it's this breed or whatever. It's basically like that. It's weird when you add a feature and sometimes things work better when you take it back off. And so whether it's the visual lookup and people are turning it off, or that new camera capture button because, you know, it actually is kind of hard to use, and you know, switching between the lenses and zooming and stuff is not all as fluid as it could be, especially with the case. Well, here, if it's draining your battery and stuff, it's kind of the same thing. Like you end up having a better experience without the new feature, which kind of goes along the lines of people have been wondering, like, has Apple tapped out in terms of innovation across several different products, but with the iPhone in particular? Like, are they just kind of grasping at straws, adding in stuff, especially if it could work better at this point? I don't know. Definitely let me know your thoughts though. I'm curious if this has affected you or not.